Hello, Soul Sparklers. Welcome to another episode of Soul Sparkle Radio. I'm so excited to be with you today and also to introduce you to my dear friend, Donald, aka Monty Montgomery. Um, Monty has a passion for travel and learning about other cultures. It's always been important to him. He was a high school rugby coach. He took all of his teams across Canada, England, Wales, South Africa, combining competition and education. After teaching and coaching for 15 years, he launched Monty's Beach Lodge in Nicaragua's Pacific Coast in 2007. A key component of the business model is giving back to local communities, and he has sought out to learn about the challenges, hopes, and dreams of these communities in order to develop projects and initiatives designed to help alleviate poverty. With promising results, Monty is excited about the future of these communities, grateful for the opportunity to continue working with the locals and improving their quality of life. Welcome to Soul Sparkle Radio, Monty. We're so excited to have you.
Thanks very much. It's really
Yeah.
good to talk and share this experience and passion.
Yeah. So the first question I always like to ask guests is, what makes your soul sparkle? What lights you up from the inside out?
Well, as you talked about, I got involved in with these communities in Central America, in Jiquilillo, this tiny little village in the middle of North Pacific Coast, Nicaragua, very rural region. And I have always really enjoyed the culture of Central America, the people, the food, the way of life, the music, the dancing. And for me, it has gone beyond that, from just traveling on a short 1 week or a 2 week trip once every year or two, to really immersing myself in the community. And I have to say that when people ask me what is the best part of what I do, what is the thing that I love the most, it has to be the people. And when I say that, it has to do with the people in the community, starting with our amazing staff that all happen to be locals, many of which had very little to no skills to begin with and are now working in this rural hotel, so to speak, in the food services or clients services or rooms and gardening and so on. And it's one of the biggest compliments we have when people come to stay there is the people on staff, and then also the people within the communities that we are working with, to learn from them, learn from this amazing culture, learn how resilient they are, how intelligent they are, many of which have little to no education. And before starting this crazy operation, I realized that there was a niche for people that wanted to travel with a purpose, to work and enjoy an amazing paradise and get to know locals that have been there for generations. So it's those people that I get to work with that they have their arms open, ready for learning from and sharing their lives, and allowing us to work with them to help them achieve their dreams for their future. When I say the people, I also mean the wonderful, amazing people that choose to come to this middle of nowhere rural spot and have this desire to travel with a purpose and work with locals like our incredible women's cooperative, and really come down with this purpose to want to work with them and help them improve their way of life, help to alleviate their poverty, help them to achieve their hopes and dreams for their future. So when I say it's the people, this is what lights me up, and this is what gets me excited. This is what keeps me up at night when I get to speak with you or other groups and people asking me about what I do. I get very excited.
Mm. It's so wonderful the work that you are that the work that you're doing, and also the opportunities that you're giving other people to help support these initiatives. I mean, um, so for you listeners that may not know this, I just got back from Nicaragua. My first service trip that I've been dreaming of for a long, long time finally happened this summer, and that's where I met Monty. I went down to Nicaragua with a group called Journey, and we built 26 homes in 2 days with an organization down there. And then we were able to come and spend some time at Monty's, a few days there actually, and it was amazing to see the outcome of some of these dreams and passions that you have, because like you mentioned, you've got a lot of different projects. We saw a clinic that you'd been part of building, the school. I'd love for you to share a little bit more about those. But what really was a beautiful experience for me personally was to meet this group of women that Monty mentioned, the Women's Collective. And for those of you that kind of have been following this journey a little bit, we've got the Soul Sparkle jewelry collection, and we had been really dreaming of finding a group of ladies that we could help support financially through this project, through this jewelry collection spa line in some way. And what happened when I was on this trip with Monty is that I mentioned this to him, and then he was able to introduce me to this women's collective. And so we're actually going to be going back down in February to train all of the ladies on how to create some of our signature pieces, and also help support this dream of theirs, which is to have homes on a farm that would help create sustainable income for themselves and their families. So what's beautifully unfolded since this trip is not only this opportunity to work with the ladies, but they've been gifted this land for them to build homes on. So right now we are in the process of fundraising for these women and their children to each have a home on this farmland that they've been gifted, and to restore the farm back to a place where it could become revenue generating, so that way not only do they have a safe, secure place to live, but they have the opportunity to create an income for themselves that they don't have today. So super, super exciting that that we've all kind of met and all come together in order to do this work in the world. So I'm so excited, Monty, to be part of your passion and your work that you've started. And I love that you've given people the opportunity to, like you mentioned, travel with a purpose. Instead of just going on vacation, you've been able to provide a way for people around the world to come and have an experience that for me has been absolutely transformative. I don't know if you know this, but when I got back from that trip, I basically quit my job, and now I'm doing my work in the world in a really bigger way than I was able to do before, because I was so inspired by the way that you have done life in a way that every single thing you do has meaning, has intention, and has purpose. And I think you've been an inspiration to a lot of people, myself included, on what else is possible in life and what it really means to serve in a higher way. So thank you for the opportunity to work with the women and to be part of these projects that you're creating. So I appreciate that so much. Can you share with us a little bit more about all the projects that you have going? I know you have things with the turtles and some other projects. We'd love to hear kind of more about what those look like and how people might be able to support some of these initiatives.
Absolutely. I want to first touch on a little bit more on the women's cooperative that you will be working with. You mentioned that they have been gifted a parcel of land, which is where they are getting 10 lots legalized, and that's in the process. It's pretty much done now. And once now that it is legalized, we are able to work with you to raise the money as you're doing, so that in February the homes can start building. This land that people need to understand that are listening to this conversation, presently the women are living in a community that is right at the end of the dirt road before the estuary. And we have, over the past few years, we have had tremendous changes in the beach along this flat, sandy peninsula. And locals every year along the beach are losing their homes to the ocean. It's sand erosion, and it is climate change, and it's been happening for generations. Believe it or not, 40 years ago, there used to be a road along the water where we now surf, and there used to be houses on the other side of that road going out 500 meters from where we leave our property now. And at different seasons during the year, when sand is taken away and the beach is changed throughout the seasons, you can actually see foundations along this beach where there used to be homes. There also used to be a school out there. So I just really want people to, I want to paint a picture so people understand what is going on in certain parts of the world, and where it's very evident that people are losing their homes and needing to find new places. Now, the women that we will be working with are very near and dear to my heart for a number of reasons. Many of them have been abandoned by men and are left raising the kids on their own, while still trying to find an income to support themselves. And it is, I find it personally very, very difficult. That's one of my challenges when I'm spending time in Nicaragua and spending time with the women and seeing how determined they are and how strong they are. My mom, my father passed away when I was 12, and my mom basically raised my brother and I. And I see the strength in women, and so that also plays a piece of also why I'm so passionate about this. The last thing I want to mention, so with regards to the ocean erosion, the very rustic homes that these women are now living in are very, very close to the ocean. And this is why they are so determined to get help and financially, so that we can get the materials and build these homes. And interestingly enough, after you were with us in Nicaragua is when I learned that they were gifted this property, and I had a meeting with them, and it miraculously seems to have come together in that this is the project you want to be involved in, and it is of great need. So it's important that people understand that piece. There's a lot of great work being done around the world.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And then there's a lot of organizations raising lots of money for a lot of people in need. And this just happens to be my little piece of the world where I am doing everything I can with help from people like yourselves to make this happen.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit on the housing project. And the other,
let me just hang on one second. Hang on, Monty. I want to just reflect back really quickly that I think what you said miraculously, this is Soul Sparkle, and we talk a lot about creating a magical life. Like, that's really my work in the world is to help people understand and and know that it's possible for them to create more magic in their life. And so what I wanted to just make sure I shared was that um, when you say miraculously, what happened is that you and I had had this conversation when I was there in Nicaragua, and we talked about, you know, the jewelry part and all of that. And then I was asking, you know, what is the dream of these women? What is the dream that they have? Because I think that's support their dreams as well. And you said, well, what they really would love is to have the opportunity to buy a farm and all live on the farm and be able to create this revenue from that. And it wasn't 10 days later. So of course I'm like, okay, well, we got, how much is a farm, right? So let's buy a farm. And not 10 days later, you email me and say, you're never going to believe this, but they've been gifted this land. And, you know, this guy's is like $50,000 to $60,000 worth of property in Nicaragua, yes, which is a huge thing. And so I just want to acknowledge that the beautiful part of when people come together for a common goal and a common purpose and help each other's dreams come true, it is magic. And it was in tears reading your email, and I'm just like, of course they were gifted this property, and now having to raise money for the farm, the land, we're raising funds for the homes. And so just so you guys know, each home is about $10,000, right, Monty? 10,000. Yes. So ultimately, we want to raise enough for each of the ladies to have their own home, so that way themselves and their children can live in their own home. And the other beautiful thing, Monty, I haven't even shared this with you yet, but there are other women that serve ladies just like I do, that are also feeling called to partner on this, because, you know, $100,000, that's a lot of money to raise. And so I've reached out to a couple of my other friends. Chantel is one that you already know, that started a lot of this for me, and I'll tell that story in a minute. But she's also going to be bringing a group of ladies. They're going to be contributing to this project as well. So I just want to acknowledge how beautiful it is when women around the world come together to serve women of the world. And so that's what's happening with this project. So it won't be just our trip in February. Chantel is going to bring some ladies in March. There's another group that's going to partner with us on this project as well. So it's just a really beautiful opportunity to come together and collaborate, because as you mentioned, I think before we started to broadcast, that, you know, it takes a village to do big things and to do big work in the world. So any of you that are listening that feel called to support this project in any way, whether it be come with us on the trip, we are going to be there from February 17th through the 22nd. So if you feel called to come travel with purpose and be part of this, Soul Sparkle Seva is what the name of the